Hey guys, time for Tech News Day.
The rapid rise in the popularity and visibility of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin over the last year has made a lot of people a lot of money.
If you can pull it out.
True. But it's also opened the door for a lot of really annoying side effects. And I'm not just talking about the fact that crypto fans never shut the hell up about it. The cost of GPUs has skyrocketed as Bitcoin miners buy them by the truckload, which limits the supply and drives up the cost of GPUs for people who just want to use them for their intended purpose, gaming and graphics work.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're all now pretty damn vulnerable to a new type of malware that hijacks your device's processing power to unknowingly mine crypto for someone else, sometimes by simply visiting an otherwise reputable website. It's a big problem. But perhaps worst of all is the news that crypto mining is now getting in the way of the search for intelligent alien life.
And now, no, we're not talking about some sort of fringe operation run by Tom DeLonge or the Ancient Aliens guy. We're talking about SETI research. That's SETI, short for Search for Extraterrestrial Life, a branch of astronomy that conducts experiments to try to detect electromagnetic transmissions from intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations. Organizations like the SETI Institute and the Berkeley SETI Research Center do this kind of work using big, expensive telescopes, antennas, and dishes, along with a ton of data analysis on computers. And that sort of big data analysis requires GPUs, which, wouldn't you know it, currently kind of scarce and expensive.
The Dr. Dan Wertheimer of the Berkeley SETI Research Center told the BBC, "At SETI, we want to look at as many frequency channels as we possibly can because we don't know what frequency ET will be broadcasting on, and we want to look for lots of different signal types."
It's the phone. It's on the phone.
Is it AM or FM? What communication are they using? That takes a lot of computing power. We'd like to use the latest GPUs, and we can't get them. That's limiting our search for extraterrestrials to try to answer the question, are we alone? Is there anyone out there? This is a new problem. It's only happened on orders we've been trying to make in the last couple months. We've got the money, we've contacted the vendors, and they say we just don't have them.
It's a big problem. Before the crypto craze, when Nvidia had to hit up Best Buy and be like, stop selling to miners.
Guys.
Not those miners, but regular miners.
Yeah.
Do sell to miners,
No
the ones that
miners.
are playing games.
Yeah. Miners, not miners.
Before that, they're like, guys, you gotta stop selling to these extraterrestrial research people. We need kids to play games, damn it. Anyways, another SETI project in South Africa, a radio satellite array, is running into huge problems as well. They budgeted their GPU cost just 3 months ago, but in that time, the price of the GPUs they need has doubled, driving their project over budget by $32,000. Do you feel good about yourselves now, miners? You might not find alien life because of you and your damn Dogecoins. Though to be fair, you could look on the flip side of this and probably make a convincing argument that GPUs are being put to a more practical use, stacked on top of each other in your apartment, devouring electricity in search of fake money, than they would be digging through an entire universe of data in search of any evidence at all of alien life.
Haven't found anything yet, so.
Yeah. Regardless, we're gonna need NVIDIA and AMD to hurry the hell up by expanding their inventory, because the GPU shortage is starting to get really old for people of all walks of life. This affects everyone.
Yeah. Leave the coins alone.
Blockchain takes a lot of energy.
Moving on, though, the biggest and absolute least shocking news of the past week came in the form of new indictments from special counsel Robert Mueller, whose team is currently investigating all sorts of shady shit tied to the 2016 U.S. election, and specifically the campaign to elect Donald Trump as president. It's been known for quite a while now that Russia's Internet Research Agency conducted one hell of an operation leading up to the election with the goal of basically just riling up impressionable American voters and amplifying everyone's ideological differences on social media like Facebook and Twitter. And now the special counsel has officially indicted 13 Russian citizens and 3 Russian organizations with election interference.
In the 37-page indictment, Mueller wrote, defendant organization had a strategic goal to sow discord in the U.S. political system, including the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Defendants posted derogatory information about a number of candidates, and by early to mid-2016, defendants' operations included supporting the presidential campaign of then-candidate Donald J. Trump, the Trump campaign, and disparaging Hillary Clinton. Defendants made various expenditures to carry out those activities, including buying political advertisements on social media in the names of U.S. persons and entities. Defendants also staged political rallies inside the United States, and while posing as U.S. grassroots entities and U.S. persons, and without revealing their Russian identities and organization affiliation. Solicited and compensated real U.S. persons to promote or disparage candidates. Some defendants, posing as U.S. persons and without revealing their Russian association, communicated with unwitting individuals associated with the Trump campaign and with other political activists to seek to coordinate political activities.
Woo!
Take my glasses off.
So it's important to note that the details of all this are still pretty vague, since it's part of a larger ongoing investigation that includes collusion, and
No collusion.
hacking, and it's obstruction of justice.
Nothing burger.
It's
No collusion.
This Nothing Burger has 10,000 calories. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said at a press conference following the indictment that the Russian troll operation involved hundreds of employees with a budget of millions of dollars who set up computer servers in the U.S. so they could have a VPN to help make the accounts that they created appear to be originating in the U.S. They also used fake or stolen identities to avoid detection. Now, the one American included in the indictment is some dude in California whose shady side business of selling stolen identities and bank accounts got him unwittingly wrapped up in the whole thing, which is wild. He's like, sir, you're under arrest. Like, oh man, you got me. He's like, oh, by the way, you sold shit to the Russian government.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh no.
Oh, god damn it. I just thought I was just a petty black market ID theft salesman.
I was just helping people create eBay accounts that they could buy free shit.
Well, I guess the roller coaster ride's a fuck. Yeah, how do you, what a trip up. Yeah. I like to imagine this guy. Yeah, this guy, giving him the benefit of the doubt, which he might not have at all. It might have been actually nefarious.
I mean, he committed a crime.
He definitely did, but he might have known the full extent too. But I like to think that he had no idea and he was just fucking selling it like willy-nilly. And now he's just like, fuck! Oh! I mean, whatever. He did the crime.
Whoops.
Yeah.
One of the strangest excerpts from the indictment comes from an email that one of the Russian defendants sent to a family member once the investigation was already in full swing. On or about September 13, 2017, Kavarzina wrote an email to a family member. We had a slight crisis here at work. The FBI busted our activity. Not a joke. So I got preoccupied with covering tracks together with the colleagues.
I like any plausible deniability was ruined by not a joke.
Kavarzina further wrote, I created all these pictures and posts, and the Americans believe that it was written by their people.
I guess it's an open and shut case, and I mean...
No, you just don't understand Russian joke. When we joke, we say we're not joking.
Yeah, it's irony. Ruled by irony and sickle.
Ugh.
Anyway, the big questions at the heart of this whole investigation are whether or not anyone from the Trump campaign knew about any of the stuff that happened at all, and whether this had any real effect on the outcome of this election. The answer to that first question might be uncovered as this investigation continues, but we'll probably never understand the extent to which any of this influenced people's voting behavior. In any case, it would probably be a good idea to take steps to prevent this kind of thing from happening again, but the official White House position on all of this remains to be just shouting, fake news! No collusion!
No.
Hillary sold uranium! And Soros and other buzzwords.
I got my Soros check today.
Thank you. It's keeping me afloat. Yeah, it also just goes like this, or randomly gets on the toilet and starts tweeting at 4 o'clock in the morning. The position is the squatting position. We can probably expect a Russian disinformation redux for the upcoming 2018 midterm elections. Although, at least at this point, Twitter and Facebook have to at least look like they're trying.
Yeah, that's at the very least the actual platforms where the operation took place on: Facebook, Twitter, maybe Pinterest. We don't know.
Could be Pinterest. Those recipes are littered with propaganda.
Yeah, the platforms themselves, also like Google with their advertising, they seem to have learned from it, and they're taking active steps to make it harder for it to happen again. Facebook announced on the day that the indictments were released that for all future ad buys related to U.S. elections, they'll be using old school methods to verify the ad buyers are actually American. So in order to get your political ad to run on Facebook, they're going to mail a postcard to your registered U.S. address, which contains a verification code that you'll need to input in order to run the ad.
How are we supposed to know what the Russian consulate's address was?
Yeah, of course, there's nothing stopping Russia from simply sending over a few spies to America to set up a shitty studio apartment and check the mail every once in a while, but it's a step.
Yeah.
It, however,
If you see anyone wearing a full body tracksuit, you say something. He just gets the mail once a day.
Yeah, I mean, this does absolutely nothing to stop Russian agents from creating pages and ads related to more general controversial topics like guns, Black Lives Matter, and so on. Apparently, they released a lot of examples. A lot of them were just like, it's like pages related to like Black Lives Matter. It's like, you know what? We should all just not vote. Our best way to deal with
the protest vote.
Well, let's just not vote. And
They had the one where they set up an event, and both sides were tricked into going to the event. It was like white supremacists and then Black Lives Matter people, and it was both a setup.
It's literally like ultimate epic battle simulator.
Yeah.
Russian
And there was the one where it was like they were looking for someone to build a human-sized cage to put a mock-up Hillary Clinton inside
And they did. They have pictures of it.
And they had a dude dressed as Uncle Sam driving a motorcycle, pulling it behind it.
It's just fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just. Egg on everyone's face.
I do like the idea that they're on Pinterest and it's like, well, look at this recipe for French toast. First, you're gonna beat step 1, beat a couple eggs together. Step 2, also, by the way, Second Amendment gives you the right to own a gun. Don't let anyone ever take it away from you. Step 3, add some milk.
Yeah.
There you go.
I call this the crooked Hillary souffle.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
This is the nothing burger. Delicious.
And it has 10,000 calories.
Yeah, it's the worst for you.
Nothing.
I got heart disease. Anyway, speaking of controversial topics, it's time to hand the talking stick, or the floating talkie thing, over to Phil Larigo, whose sworn mortal enemy, Ajit Pai, has entered the fight once again. He's at the character selection screen all the time, ready to go, and Phil's like, not today, Ajit. But today is the day. He may be getting some long overdue comeuppance, because it seems like he's a fucking idiot too.
Yeah.
Shocking. But first, a word from this week's sponsor, Google. Looking to move to the cloud? Don't know where to begin? Check out the Google Cloud Platform weekly podcast where Google developer advocates Melanie Warrick and Mark Mandel answer questions, get in the weeds, and talk to Google Cloud Platform teams, customers, and partners about best practices. From security to machine learning and more. Hear from technologists all across Google about trends and cool things happening with their technology. To learn more and subscribe to the podcast, click the link in this video's description or visit g.co/GCP podcast.
All right, let's get Phil in here. Tell what's the bear with the big Reese's mug doing?
You know what I want to talk about? Ajit Pai, the guy who I can't stand, who now everybody else can't stand, with his cool coffee mug, which, let me tell you, that bit's not gonna age well. That'll be like Bazinga. That'll be like Bart Simpson's I Didn't Do It Boy. It'll be old pretty soon. Well, anyway, last April, Ajit Pai's FCC lifted restrictions as to how many stations a media company could own. Well, that doesn't sound like a real big deal. Well, shortly after he did that, Sinclair Broadcast Group, a giant conglomerate, announced a long-suspected deal to acquire Tribune Media for the low price we all could afford of $3.9 billion, okay? So this kind of like wigged out a lot of people, so FCC Inspector General David Hunt, as through much urging from some peers, finally agreed to dig in and do an investigation on this. Why? It was just big business, man. Well, so when you go ahead and squish these two conglomerates together, they make up 173 local TV stations, which doesn't sound like a whole lot when you think about how big the United States is, but when you really think about it, that covers 72% of the country. It's a lot of local media, that's a lot of local news. Well, last year, John Oliver did a really great segment covering these news packages that local Sinclair affiliates must air during the local news. And guess which way they lean politically? Free Press and people who kind of look out for you like the EFF, they gave a pretty straightforward analysis on this. They said if the merger is approved, a conservative broadcaster would be able to air politically biased programming in more than 70% of the U.S. population. So really what this means is a company who kind of likes what Republicans does bought another company because the Trump-appointed head of the FCC kind of swiggled some rules around, and now they get to push their political agenda on 72% of local affiliates. And Engadget, site we all like to check out, they asked the FCC, hey man, what's the deal? Here's what the FCC said. Given that the FCC, under Chairman Pai's leadership, recently proposed a $13 million fine against Sinclair, the largest fine in history for a violation of the commissioner's sponsorship identification rules. The accusation that he has shown favoritism toward the company is absurd, which, let me just put it this way. It's sort of like if I did a bunch of stuff for people, which is in the billions of dollars, all right? They're dealing with bees. That's nearly $4 billion deal, and whoever knows what sort of shady things, like allegedly could be kickbacks, it could be things that maybe he dealt with over at Verizon, stuff like that, but $13 million is a drop in the bucket and is almost some PR when you're like, it's not even a slap on the wrist, it's a slap near the wrist, and you go, here's your $4 billion deal, guys. So look, it's not only just the cable companies who are screwing with us. Last year, it was cars, and this year, guess what? It's cars. Mercedes' parent company Daimler used illegal software to cheat emissions tests on diesel vehicles in the US, allegedly. Now, I don't know if you remember back in 2015, Volkswagen cheated emissions tests for VW, Audi, and Porsche models, specifically the more environmentally friendly diesel ones, which is kind of a scumbag tactic because some people buy diesel because, you don't destroy the world quite as much. And they said, hey, we have an idea. Let's put some software in our cars so that when you test these things for emissions, it knows. It's like sort of like when people write software that they game the benchmarking system when it comes to computers. Well, they did that, and their cars actually were belching out more caustic smoke that's just going to ruin the planet. Well, that cheat code situation cost Volkswagen, in their estimations, $18 billion that they had to set aside for this scandal to replace people's cars and get rid of old cars and pay all sorts of fines. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Daimler because this situation isn't quite on the scope of Volkswagen's snafu when it came to that. But hey, if it makes you feel any better when you hear about nice cars like Mercedes and all that stuff, just know that they're fucking dicks too. And that's Rat Fact.
Wow. He's gonna need a bigger mug.
That'll do it. In other news this week, iPhone owners were treated to a major bug that caused their devices to crash in response to the mere presence of a specific Unicode character, specifically this voluptuous character. It's the character for sign in the Indian language Telugu, but I prefer to think of it as the symbol for thick.
Yeah.
It wasn't just phones either. The bug also affected Macs and even Apple Watches, and it would trigger a crash if it appeared anywhere in Twitter, Facebook, iMessage, Slack, Instagram, Apple Mail, and more. Like literally just your phone reading the symbol would cause it to just... And in some cases, users would be unable to reopen the app without causing another crash, forcing them to uninstall and reinstall the app affected. Great.
Nice. Of course, this meant that assholes and pranksters started spamming the symbol around to people once the bug became publicly known. You already knew that was going to happen.
Of course.
Fortunately, Apple has now patched the issue, but it seems like this kind of weird glitch keeps popping up for Apple users. A similar thing happened a few years back involving some Arabic symbols, and then there was a specific URL that would crash any iPhone that if it was texted to it, regardless of whether the person clicked on it or not. So there's constantly exploits being discovered.
This is like shit from like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's like you watch the videotape and the phone rings. It's like you got 7 days to fix your iPhone.
Yeah.
Poof. In other
You
news,
can threaten someone and then send them that code, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, there's a hacker in my phone. No, they got all my emails."
In other news, on the Google side of things, the latest update to Chrome is a huge win in the war on annoying ads and autoplay videos on bloated websites. Unlike stuff like adblocker, uBlock Origin, Chrome doesn't block all the ads. It just blocks the ones that are intrusive and annoying.
We'll block all the ones that aren't bought through Google AdSense.
Big if true. So yeah, we're talking about stuff like pop-ups, ads that autoplay video and or sound.
The worst.
And ads that take up the whole screen, forcing you to find that little tiny X that lets you escape from
Oh,
them.
and there's like 7 X's on there.
Yeah.
You don't know which one's the real one.
Oh, that X meant take me to the App Store page for this shitty mobile game. I thought you wasn't that clear? Anyway, they're all being blocked. It's great. Ironically, though, when Chrome does block one of those ads, you're going to get a pop-up letting you know about it.
At least it's letting you know.
Yeah, and
this might just be for a short time as people get used to it.
I don't know if this is like I was unable to find it, but I last night when I was on Chrome going to news websites, all the autoplay videos I came across were muted automatically.
Good. That's
I don't know if
that's my
part of the
biggest pet
update.
peeve.
It might
Especially
have-
when you're writing and you have like 50 ads or 50 tabs open.
Yeah.
And it's like I have no idea which one of these is playing audio.
Yeah, I don't know if that's part of the update, though. I think it might actually be websites like preemptively doing it.
Well, yeah, smart for them.
Yeah, but it is nice because that is the worst.
It's gonna be
goddamn thing.
all these websites now are gonna be as bad as Facebook, where you go to a news page, it's like, click for sound instead of showing you exactly what the video is gonna be. Anyways, that's our show. And now another quick word from this week's sponsor, Google. Looking to move to the cloud? Check out the Google Cloud Platform Weekly Podcast, where Google developer advocates answer questions, get in the weeds, and talk to experts, customers, and partners about the Google Cloud Platform. To learn more and subscribe to the podcast, click the link in the description below or visit g.co/GCP podcast.
All right, well, be sure to check out, if you haven't watched it yet, new tugs.
Yeah,
About
PUBG
how
dying.
PUBG is,
It's gonna be dead soon, guys.
the numbers are
Nosedive.
going down.
Also, we talked about Black Panther and a bunch of other stuff, like Fergie singing the national anthem over on our Monday show.
While the rain
Mr. Country.
ramparts we watched. Stop sexualizing my country. Bye.